Last month my brother-in-law came by and we planed down a couple hundred board foot of walnut, and he was blown away how this little rigid planer way outperformed his big DeWalt 725. Well, the secret is I've got a helical cutter in here. Now when I put the helical cutter in here, I was going to do a video on it, started filming it, but I just didn't quite get the results that I was expecting on the testers. Now that I've been running it and using it, I understand. So what we've done is I bought a helical cutter and we put it on my brother-in-law's. So I'm going to show you the process we did. It's super simple. I don't know, I haven't seen any of these other videos that show actually some of the information that I'm going to show, and a lot of them make this thing out to be way harder than what it was. I mean, this thing was super simple. So let's get into it. All right, so as a baseline, the machine running without nothing in it, it's pulling about 8 amps and running, mid 90 decibels. In first gear, now I did a full crank, which is an 1/8 inch. You see it, running around 23 amps and about 98 decibels. When I put it into second gear and run it through, it's jumping up to about 104 decibels, which I think every 6 decibels, they say, is like double the loudness. And we're probably hitting right around 28 amps. So we're just under where the breaker is going to kick the machine off. But again, I was wanting to push this to the max and see just how well it would do. All right, so this thing is super simple. It's a high quality, high precision piece of machinery, but again, you open up the box. You have an instruction pack, you got a box of, these 56 knives, and then you got the spindle. The spindle already has your bearings and everything mounted onto it, so there's really not much to it, and it's super simple to install. All right, so I'm not going to waste a whole bunch of your time. When I went back and watched the video, I just let the camera run while we was installing this, and to install this on the instructions, it's set up into 3 sections. You've got the top, the left side, and the right side. And here I'm doing the top, and it took me 6 minutes and 1 second according to the video, and that's without me ever doing this before or even trying to rush through. That was just how long it took. It was a very simple process, and the instructions were spelt out very well. Step number 2 took me a little bit longer. Looking at the film, it was 7 minutes and 38 seconds to get this step completed. One thing I did was when I slid the gearbox, I didn't slide it completely off the machine. I probably could have. It wouldn't have been no big deal. It was already completely apart, but I just let it rotate down out of the way. And one thing you definitely need is a good pair of snap ring pliers that do inner and outer snap rings. I got the one from Harbor Freight. I think they're about $14-15, but those things work fantastic. You just push the button and it changes from inner to outer. And other than that, on this step here, the only reason it took a little bit longer is because there was a few more steps than taking the top off. The third step was the longest step. It actually took 8 minutes and 30-something seconds, I believe, to do. And that is the step where you have to actually knock out the old spindle and all the old bearings. If you're not familiar, your bearings have an outer race, an inner race, and then there is a rubber seal that seals in all the grease. You don't want to hit on that rubber. You want to get a socket that fits up and is on the metal race. And, as long as you're on that metal race, you're going to be able to just knock this right through with a hammer. I did grab a rubber mallet to begin with and tried to hit it a couple times, and I just went ahead and grabbed a little sledgehammer because I was solid. I took the socket and used an extension so I could hold it good and solid up on that bearing, and just smacked it a couple times and it slid right out. No problems whatsoever, and didn't damage it. If I ever wanted to go back with the original, I certainly could. And again, we finished all the disassembly, and now we're ready to start putting it back together in well under 30 minutes. So now it's time to put it all back together. And the one thing that I will say that made this super easy for me was the socket that I used to take the nut off of the pulley on this side of the spindle, I used a deep well socket, and it slid right over the nut and went right up onto that bearing perfectly. And that's what I used, and took my sledgehammer and just bumped in the bearings so that they fit right into the housings where they're supposed to. Went ahead and put my snap clip on the far side, and that way, as I was bumping this in with the sledgehammer, I didn't go in too far, and then put my snap clip on the bearing on this side, and everything else was basically just the reverse of what we took it apart as, with the exception of installing the blades. This was the longest part of the entire swap over, is actually putting the blades in, which, to me, putting the blades in isn't part of the install, because even with the other one, every once in a while you had to change blades. So you've got to change blades, you got to change blades. But I would say it took as long to install all 56 blades as it did to take it apart and put it back together again. So if you was rushing through this, you could probably get it done in an hour, hour and a half. But I would say just take in consideration that it's about 20 minutes to take it apart, and about 20, 30 minutes to put it back together. But then, go ahead and allow yourself an hour to put these teeth on, and that gives you like 1 minute per tooth, one or blade. And that way you're not rushing, because you want to make sure that these are seated good. But now that we've got them all in, let's see if it did any good. All right, so here, this is what surprised me. The machine running without a piece of wood in it, you see it right here, we're at 90 decibels. We're at almost 10 decibels quieter with the machine running without a piece of wood in it. And then, oh crap, I put a piece of wood in it and it gets quieter. It goes down to like 84, 85 decibels while it's playing in the wood. That is just, I was not expecting it to get even quieter. So the machine running without a piece of wood in it is almost 100 decibels stock. While it's planing a piece of wood with this upgrade, you're only looking at about 85 decibels. We are talking about, this is at a level that we're without hearing protection and are able to talk to each other and hear what each other's saying. Now, the one thing that I am noticing is that the amps are higher, because the machine is solid cutting. It's by that being helical, the blade is just a constant cut, and it's cutting it smoother, but by having that constant pressure on it, whereas with the one big blade, it would give it hit it and then it would let off, and that way the amps fluctuate a lot more. Here the amps are a lot more steady, but they are pulling more amps because it's a solid drain on the motor. So I was unable to do the full 1/8 cut like I did earlier, and was having to do 1/16 cuts, which is the max I can do on my rigid planer, is a 16th cut, which is one full turn on it. But with these new blades, they do pull more amperage, so you're not able to cut as deep. Now, this is where the machine shut off, but you can see here where, that is huge. I'm taking out a full 1/8 of an inch, but the board itself, it feels like it's already been sanded. This board is just perfectly smooth, and that is just amazing. There's no chip out even where the cut stopped at in the mid cut. Just absolutely fabulous. A 20 decibel difference is huge. I will never have another planer in my shop that doesn't have one of these helical blades on it, just because of the noise factor alone, much less the improved quality of the cut. And another thing people don't realize is that these carbides last like 50 times longer than a regular blade, and then you can rotate them 4 times, so these things are going to last like 200 times longer than your normal blades. So you're not going to have to be buying more of these blades. And if one of them did hit a nail and you did have to replace it, you only have to replace one. It came with some extras. They also got router bits that you could take the same blades on them. So check the links out in the description, and until next time, y'all have a wonderful day.